Almost 2 years ago now, I sat down with some of my friends and spoke to them about their mental health, with the intent of gaining an insight into what some of my friends have been through for myself, but also for you as the viewer. As time has passed, I feel like it's important to know that we as people are constantly changing and growing, but the same issues that we may once have faced are still ever present. In this video, I'll be revisiting some of the people that I spoke to nearly 2 years ago to just check up on them and see how they're doing. Sometimes it may be easier than you think to talk. I'll leave the relevant links in the description down below for some support if you feel like you need that. If you do enjoy this content, please let me know down in the comment section below if you'd like to see more of it. And if there's anyone that you'd actually like me to talk to, also let me know. All right, Lou, it's been 2 years since we last spoke, nearly 2 years. How have your last 2 years been?
Can't really remember them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Vibing, just getting along. Getting old now, 23. Not like you're 29, obviously.
I'm 26. Hello, Georgina.
Hello, Charlie.
What's the nervous laughter?
I don't know how to explain. Because you know when someone asks you how you are and you're like, do I really want to get into everything?
Hello, Jemel, mate.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah. You're gonna make me cry, Charlie.
It's been nearly 2 years since we filmed the previous video. How have things been? Okay.
He laughs nervously. Things have been thinging.
Thinking.
Yeah, things have been thinging. Lots of ups and lots of downs. A lot of downs. So many downs. You'd think I'd be playing American football, to be honest.
How are you doing right now, like in this moment in time? He nervously laughs again.
I'd say on a scale of like 100% being like, yo, I feel phenomenal. Things are great. I'd say I'm a solid 45, you know, like a solid, strong 45.
You're in the drifting period.
Yeah, I'm on the come up.
Scale of up to 100, where are you?
Ooh, it's a tricky one. Because mentally, I'm good. Probably the best I've ever been.
Fantastic.
Physically, health-wise,
Yeah.
probably the worst I've ever been. So it's a tricky, yeah, I know. It's a tricky balance, you know. I don't know, maybe like a 65%. So yeah, 2020 was probably the worst year I've ever had mentally. It was a real struggle. So from that, I've worked on myself so much. Like I've worked on my confidence, just like self-love. Like I've really forced myself to enjoy myself. Because the thing that I suffer with a lot is self-hatred. I took a lot of time and effort to work on that, and it takes a lot to do that.
What have you been up to?
Literally the same thing I've been doing for the last like 3-4 years, yeah.
Yeah, same old.
Been reading books.
Right, that's something new actually for you. You've been reading a lot of books. What have you been reading?
Oh, I've lost count at this point. I think I've read 9 books in 2 months, which I'm quite proud of for like someone that's not read and like skill.
So one thing that I'll divulge to anyone who's watching now is we discussed in depth on last time that we spoke, and you opened up very much so. And unfortunately, due to something called method, we aren't allowed to disclose things that go onto that depth. We both felt you were comfortable to share that with your story with me and with an audience. But I hope, honestly, that never going to get to that point again, from the bottom of my heart. But have you felt that kind of way again?
Oh yeah, definitely.
In the last 2, yeah?
I have them, but there's nothing in me that's like trying to push me towards that. You know, like the thoughts will pass through, like, you know, when I've gone for a run and you just got passive thoughts, things kind of just swirling around and just going. I've never sat on it where I'm like, okay, how am I gonna plan this out? What am I gonna do? All right, today's the day. Like, it's never been that.
I've been trying to replace unhealthy habits with healthy habits, and reading was one of them. I think it's very important the first book you read, because it'll be your first impression technically. But luckily, the first book that I read that got me back into reading was Song of Achilles, and that was really good.
What was it about?
Gay.
A gay, just gay.
It's about Achilles and Patroclus falling in love with each other.
Achilles was gay?
Debatable. Some stories say yes, some stories say no.
The Greeks were a little bit fruity though.
It was very accepted to be gay back in the end times. I was born in the wrong century. Millennium.
When we last spoke, you were saying about how you had a problem with your knee, and Freya made a comment.
Yes.
Yeah. And when Freya made a comment, you basically just had like a meltdown. Do you feel like the way you handle situations has developed a lot?
Without a doubt, oh my gosh, yes. It's funny you mention it actually, because I was looking through my Twitter DMs with Talia. So I read through that this morning and I was like, oh, I can't speak to people that way, like when they're trying to help. Because at the time I was like, you're not trying to help. Like, they were. just to put it out there.
So when we last spoke, we were living together in Woolwich. Since then, we haven't.
Best year of my life without you.
Fantastic. Now your plan is to save up, then go somewhere else?
Not necessarily save up as such right now. I just had so many video ideas that I've wanted to do abroad in Europe and America, and you just can't really afford to whilst living London rent, so I wanted to move back. And the idea of not actually spending any time really there, so just like spending money on different types of content, because I've been doing the same sort of content for the last year or two-ish, and I wanted to just spice up a little bit. And I've also wanted to do some travelling, so why not mix them together?
So with your kind of content that you've been doing, I feel like you've kind of started to change a little bit more now. Tomorrow, you've got a stand-up thing, so that's something that's new for you.
I do, that's very fun. That's something else I've been doing, stand-up. Fun. I think people get a wrong impression. Some people think I'm really confident, but I feel like I'm not. Whereas stuff like that really helps me gain my confidence a bit back, and that's something I've been doing and been enjoying, and it's been fun.
Rihanna, she's pregnant. I didn't really want it to go public, but it is what it is.
I do recall you saying how like lockdown was a bit of an issue. Do you feel that now that we're pretty much at normality, that kind of freedom and ability to be able to go out, create content, seek new opportunities? Because I've seen you've done really good stuff in your career, like whether you'd want to believe it or not, you've been doing some really good stuff, some really cool presenting jobs and stuff.
Thank you, bro.
It's nice to see you doing things like that, but that wouldn't have been possible during the lockdown time. Do you see me?
Yeah, for real. I feel like now, more than ever, I want to be outside more, even if with creating, socializing, just to get myself out. And I think it will just kind of create a good balance for me mentally, in regards to just home is where I can kind of rest, relax, whatever. And I don't need to try and fit everything in within those walls, because lockdown created that kind of new space where you've got to train here, you've got to do this here, everything within this confined space. And I'm like, no, the world is there, Jemel.
It's definitely different. Like, I keep my friends so close now. Like, I don't go out to meet new people, where I think I did do that like before lockdown. It was much more like carefree before lockdown and stuff, you know. I don't know how much I went into it before, but I just had a breakup like just before lockdown. I was streaming, like streaming was such an escape for me. Ever since I've been able to see like the girls again, like, that's all I need.
The girl gang.
Yeah, the girl gang. I spoke to Talia the other day, and I was texting her, and she messaged me, and she was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "No, I'm not actually. How do you know?" She was like, "I can tell by the way you're messaging me, like you're making no sense." And she was like, "What is wrong?" And I was like, "I think," because I went for a really hard week last week, because I now expect myself to be okay, because my mental health is better. I'm like, I'm okay. This hasn't affected me at all. Yeah, whereas realistically, I needed to I needed to just process it and be like, yeah, this is shitty. I feel shitty.
There's one thing that I learned. So I've been working a lot with Wes Nelson over the last year, and one thing that he told me, it was about refusing to allow the uncontrollables control you. So if there's something that you can't control, I can't control it, therefore it is what it is. You've actually got to give yourself and allow yourself some breathing space, because it's, Jessie J said it's okay not to be okay. You know?
Let's go, Jessie J.
Yeah, what a queen. One thing that can really affect like growth is relationships. I think from being with people, whether you're with them or you're no longer with them, there's growth that happens.
Yeah, I think it's very different for everything, because you mentioned relationships, but it's the exact same with any life event, whether it's a death of a family member, end of a relationship, pet dying, I don't know, my dog died. Anything of the sort that is a major life event will teach you lessons, and that's something I used to always tell myself. I almost sometimes think a negative thing happening to you is good, because you'll know how to prevent it happening again.
Last year, on the day before my birthday, so the 18th of August, I celebrated 1 year self-harm free.
Let's fucking go,
Let's
gamer.
go. So this year was 2 years self-harm free, which is, let's
gamer.
go. And episode free.
Let's fucking go.
Thank you, I know. It's like a slow progression of deterioration, but I haven't had that in 2 years, which is insane, because I used to have them like every month. Like when I think about it, I'm like, whoa.
What would you say that happiness means to you?
That's a good question, Charlie, isn't it?
Thanks.
I think this is going to sound really just vague, but just being stress-free in the sense of not feeling like there's a lot of pressure on you. Happiness for me would mean freedom, and freedom would mean there's no pressure on you, whether that's financial pressure, whether that's pressure at work, pressure in relationships. Like, I think the more free you are, the more happy you'll be because you're more in control of your emotions. Therefore, anything that goes wrong in your life is down to you.
I feel like happiness means to me, professionally, not having it all, but kind of just feeling like I'm on the right road to wherever it is I want to be going. That's happiness to me, you know? Like having that consistent flow or something, that rhythm. Personally is just being there with my daughter, pure happiness. Whenever I'm with my daughter, then that's happiness. Like I could be having the worst day ever, and I'm driving to Bristol yet, and the day is just going horribly. But as soon as I'm with her, nothing else genuinely matters. Like nothing else really exists.
Maybe just like being content, you know?
What is happiness? Being content.
I feel like if I was to say like happiness is, you know, sparkles and sunshine and all this, you know, it's like less realistic. Whereas if I say it's like having my friends around me, my like mum, who I love so much, my family around me, I don't know, just, you know, like that like contentness of being okay, like I have a roof over my head, I have like food, you know. If I have that, then I feel like I will be happy.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have loved and lost or never having loved at all?
Oh, Charlie, these questions are so deep. Would I rather have loved and lost or never have loved at all? Loved and lost, right?
Because the correct answer is up to you.
Never have loved, that just sounds sad. I love love.
See, I love love and I'm a very passionate person, but love in a familial and friendship sense, 100% loved and lost rather than never having loved at all. But in relationships, I think I'd...
You're like, wait.
No, because I think just... I've learned a lot from my relationships.
Yeah, same.
But the pain I've been through because of my relationships has been...
yeah.
I'll stick to it. Loved and lost.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
But that love and lost, the losing, I'd never like to do again, if you get what I mean.
Oh, for sure. I would have rather had it and lost it. Touch with that. Don't really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, touch with it. But like, I'd much rather have a life where I've experienced it and it was gone than experience my whole life never having it and always wondering what it would have been like.
Loved and lost.
Yeah?
I don't even know what that means.
Would you rather have like fallen in love but lost that person, or just never have loved that person at all?
I think loved and lost, I think you always learn something from anyone, and I always say this, any negative experience, there's always one positive to take from it. Anything in the world, there's always a positive to take from it, and there's always lessons learned.
If you could go back 1 year, what would you say to yourself?
I would probably say to myself, enjoy everything and just be present. It's amazing how much you can make yourself feel like you've got the world on your shoulders and that everything is so important when it really isn't. Oh yeah, and one more thing, I would say anxiety isn't real. You know?
Oh.
Yeah, I would just say anxiety isn't real. It's not real.
It's one of those things, if you go up to someone who has anxiety,
Anxiety
isn't
obviously,
real.
yeah, I'm just, this is...
You're saying it for you.
For me,
I'm clarifying in case it's someone else who's angry.
I'm saying this is just for, like, because I know how certain things can be said to me and how I would, but I wouldn't say it to anybody else.
I'd call him a fat little baby. No, I wish I had more discipline and I was stricter on myself.
If you went back 2 years, so around about the time that we were talking and you were nervous about opening up, what would you change?
It's almost like so far away that I don't actually know what I would tell myself because I'm struggling to remember the mindset I was in. I just remember that I was a nervous boy. Like, I remember when we did the podcast, I was so nervous. I know if I did a podcast now, fine, but I remember I was really shy, really nervous, really reserved then. Ultimately, I am where I am now, so I wouldn't have told him to change much. Maybe just believe in himself a bit more.
In 2020, I recorded all of my episodes, all of my mental health breakdowns on my phone.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but it meant when I was better, I could watch them all back. There was an episode once where I thought I was a baby. I couldn't speak. I was like, blah, blah, blah. It was weird. It's weird what your brain can do, but it's because obviously my brain went back to like, oh, when do I feel I'm the safest? And it went back to being a baby. I couldn't speak, it was weird. It was actually really good in a way of like protection against myself because I can figure out what was like real and fake because I suffer a lot with derealization. I'd say like I dealt with it pretty good in 2020 because I've suffered since I was like 14 with psychosis. So, you know, it's been over 10 years, it's been over a decade, yeah. I really don't know. I'm just great.
If you went back 10 years, so you're 13.
10?
Yeah, 10 whole years.
Ooh.
What do you think you would have needed to hear from someone?
I would try to tell myself to just like not allow my emotions to make my decisions, because I was very hypersensitive back then, extremely sensitive.
I wish I did more stuff that gave me out my comfort zone, and I wish I started doing things more that I enjoyed rather than trying to fit in. You look at me 5 years ago, I was dressing in like double denim, like posing like this. In photos, I was being someone that I wasn't. I was trying to be the spice boy that I wasn't. I wish I could just go back and tell myself not to care, not to take shit from anyone, not care as much, stop trying to fit in and just be myself a bit more, and be more proud of who I am as opposed to like reject it and trying to be someone else.
How old are you now?
27.
27. So your 17-year-old self,
Okay.
what do you think that your 17-year-old self would need to hear?
Ooh, to just live life.
If I went back 10 years, I would tell myself not to give up.
I cared so much about everything, like about everyone's opinions, about like fitting in every crowd. Yeah, to just live life. I was such a people pleaser. I still am. I get told off by my friends all the time.
Luckily, I didn't do anything crazy where, you know, it's kicking my ass 10 years later.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? But I would tell myself to let things go. Not hold on to things. Give yourself a break. Like, stop trying to feel like you need to have it all figured out. You're not supposed to. Like, you're supposed to feel scattered and all over the place. Stop trying to feel like you need to have your shit together. You've literally had your like life swept like from beneath you. You know, it's gonna take a while to adjust and just breathe.
So I would have been in CAMS at 17. Do you know what CAMS is? Like Children and Adolescent Mental Health Service. I lied my way through that. Oh my gosh. If I was honest, then I probably would have got the help I needed by like 21, 22.
Fantastic.
And been doing better through my adult years, but I lied out my arse. So yeah, please be honest with your therapist. Trust me, it's hard. It's really fucking hard to do that. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it'll be so much more beneficial.
I think 10 years ago, Jemel will be very proud of 10 years now, Jemel. I think
Probably
so.
wouldn't believe half the shit I would tell him. He'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You went where?
No, I think, yeah, exactly. With the stuff that you have, that you've done, and the stuff that you've been through, and how you persevered, your kid, I'd say you should have every right, even now, you should be proud of yourself. Because I think it's...
Thanks, bro.
It's my pleasure. It's a testament, you know? From what you told me from 2 years ago, you're still... You maybe not thriving, we'll get there, but you're a strong human being in physical and also mental sense, you know? Well, no physical sense. If you ever watched Jemel play football, it's terrifying. No, it is nice to talk to you. I'm glad as well. I can genuinely see a lot of growth, and I hope the people here watching now can see, if you see the last video, how much things have changed.
Yeah, the growth of my muscles, baby.
Yeah, ever
Yeah.
serious, Lewis Bucking.
Yeah, there you go.
Hug.
No, hug.
Hug.
COVID.
We can have a... Okay. Nice sweaty duck. Okay. What's your plan for the future?
Bro, it's little things, bro. It's just being consistent. That will bring me so much joy. You can't fake that. It has to come from you like grinding and just, you know, focus. Okay. And you're just getting the wheels moving, and it's gonna just go. I know once I find my rhythm, I'll be fine.
I believe in you.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I'll get there.
We are.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
No worries, man. Love you. Thank you very much for
Thanks,
coming.
Charlie.
I hope that you're doing well. I'm
Appreciate it.
glad you're doing a lot better now anyway.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
actually nice to see.
Yeah. I might be 30 the next time you see me, lads.
30.
I'm
Should another
27.
3-year time.
27 now.
Do one next year.
Okay, next year, all right. Okay, that's all right, yeah.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Well done.